right now. From KTAB News, your local election headquarters, this is Big Country Politics.
Thanks for being here for Big Country Politics. I'm Marley Capper. We start with our eye on Abilene. Each year, the Appraisal District in your county lets you know the value of your property and how much you'll be paying in property taxes. Just a couple of weeks ago, more than 73,000 appraisal notices were mailed to property owners in Taylor County. But not everybody agrees with their appraisal. Our Miriam Chamberlain found out there is a way to make an appeal.
Checking the Nextdoor app is something homeowner Tom Booth does in his free time. But what he didn't realize is that one post could make a big impact.
I wasn't really looking for anything. I just thought it was kind of odd.
Odd that no one had posted about the recent appraisal value increase in Abilene.
Nobody complained in a whole week after the appraisals came out. So I thought, well, I'll just point out that I guess everybody's happy.
But the comments showed otherwise. And many residents wanted answers on ways they could potentially protest their appraised value.
It's illegal for them to raise your appraisal if you protest. So you have absolutely nothing to lose.
Chief Executive Officer Gary Ernest says the Appraisal District receives 6,000 to 8,000 protests every single year.
Once we receive those notices and put those into our system, the appraiser will grab individual cause numbers, and it will take about 7 days to complete the appraisal analysis once they contact the county.
As their most important aspect of their job is to have transparency and communication with all the taxpayers in Taylor County.
And we want to make sure that we meet the customers' needs and reflect excellent customer service. Even though at times we may not agree, we want to value that person staying in front of us and treat them the way we want to be treated.
And Booth believes they're doing just that.
And all my dealings with them have never been a problem. I mean, I don't always agree with them, but I think they're doing the best they can. I think they do really an excellent job.
In Abilene, with coverage you can count on. Miriam Chamberlain, KTAB News.
Thank you, Miriam. It only takes about 5 minutes to file a protest with an answer from the Appraisal District in a couple of weeks. Check this story on bigcountryhomepage.com to find the forms you need to get things rolling. And there are just a few school days left before the summer break. The superintendent of the Abilene ISD School District is responding to Governor Abbott's order banning public schools from requiring the students and teachers to wear masks on campus. That goes into effect June 4th. After the current academic year ends, most Texas school districts Dr. David Young says he supports the governor's order and the Abilene ISD will always follow directives from the state. Dr. Young saying taking off the masks will allow students and staff to start becoming more comfortable with returning to the pre-pandemic ways in the summer school and in the coming school year.
We have to become comfortable with getting back to a normal instructional operation. 100% of our staff have had the opportunity to get vaccinated at their work site.
Abilene ISD's last day of school is next Thursday, the 27th. The new mask lift comes after the governor's orders, like we had said. Governor Greg Abbott issued those executive prohibiting number of government agencies in Texas from requiring wearing the masks for COVID-19. The governor's order included counties, cities, school districts, public health authorities, and government officials. Public schools can continue requiring masks through June 4th. After that day, no person can be required to wear one when on campus. The order does not apply to private schools or businesses, state-supported living centers, state prisons, counties, and city jails or juvenile facilities. The order, like I said, goes into effect next week. And sending money from Washington to Americans continues to take center stage on Capitol Hill. A Senate committee debated what federal policy should look like for families after a baby is born. Democrats are promoting a plan that would provide 12 weeks of paid leave and medical leave. But Republicans worry that a federal one-size-fits-all mandate could be too expensive and just end up costing jobs. KTAB's Washington Bureau correspondent Jesse Turner reports.
Nobody's opposed to family leave.
Lawmakers in both parties want workers to have paid time off to care for a newborn or loved one.
It's far past time we make paid leave a right for all, not a privilege for some.
But they don't agree on how to secure that benefit.
I'm going to do everything I can to get the paid leave policy President Biden proposed in the American Families Plan across the finish line.
Washington Senator Patty Murray supports the president's national program that would guarantee 12 weeks of paid family and medical leave within 10 years, primarily by increasing taxes on the wealthy.
Washington needs to pay for it with tax credits, subsidies, grants, at least for small business.
But North Carolina Senator Richard Burr worries a federal one-size-fits-all mandate would be too expensive and end up costing jobs.
We should make sure we give business the flexibility to help employers make paid leave work.
About 10 states currently fund their own paid leave programs in a different way, through payroll taxes. Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy worries how companies will respond if Congress passed a similar national policy.
That would just allow them to offload their obligation upon the federal taxpayers.
But Vicki Szabo, a paid leave policy expert, argues the benefit outweighs the cost.
If we were to finance through payroll taxes, it would be a small cost for a big value.
In Washington, I'm Jessie Tenor.
Thank you, Jesse. Texas is subject to the Federal Family and Medical Leave Act for any public or private employer with 50 or more employees. The House of Representatives passed a bill to create a bipartisan commission to investigate January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Senate. It may not get through the U.S. Senate, though. CBS News correspondent Laura Podesta has the details.
The bill is passed.
35 House Republicans joined with Democrats to pass a 9/11-style commission to investigate the January 6th assault on the U.S. Capitol.
This is about facts. It's not partisan politics.
The commission would be equally divided between Republicans and Democrats.
Holy cow.
Ohio Democrat Tim Ryan scolded the 175 Republicans who voted against the bill.
We have people scaling the Capitol, hitting the Capitol Police with lead pipes across the head, and we can't get bipartisanship.
Republicans wanted the commission to also look at the violence stemming from last summer's social justice protests.
And why is it that there is no willingness to look into all of the riots?
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer promised to bring the bill to a vote, but it faces an uphill battle in the divided chamber where 10 Republicans are needed to overcome a GOP filibuster.
Thank you. And when we come back here on Big Country Politics, the latest from the Abilene housing market, an in-depth conversation with 2 local realtors. We're back in 2 minutes.
Big Country Politics on KTAB continues.
Thanks for staying with us here for Big Country Politics. This morning we're joined by 2 guests, Miss Jamie Dalzell and Ken Hogan, who are both members of the Abilene Association of Realtors. Go ahead, Ken, start by telling us what do you do and what is the association for?
Well, I'm the association executive there, so I'm a paid staff person. The association was created back in the 1920s by 4 or 5 local real estate brokers, and has evolved and changed and grown significantly to serve the realtor members, the real estate practitioners here in town, in kind of 3 major areas. We offer a significant amount of professional development for our members, a lot of information, related to state and national real estate statistics. Kind of the second part is our advocacy arm, governmental affairs, where the association is heavily involved in local politics, basically anything that would affect private property rights, private property ownership, things like that. The association is heavily involved in at the local, state, and national level. The other thing that we're involved in is community engagement, community service. The association for many years has, in conjunction with the Salvation Army, provided children, underserved children with shoes for the new school year. We've partnered with the homeless liaison for the Abilene Independent School District in regard to trying to help meet some of their needs. We also have partnered with the Abilene Education Foundation and with school supplies, things like that. So our membership overall is really engaged in advocacy and community service.
Thank you. So, Ms. Dalzell, go ahead and tell us what is going on with this housing market right now in Abilene. We have a shortage in homes. I mean, can you kind of speak on that?
Right. Yeah, so if there's one home available, you may expect that seller to have one offer or 10 offers. So right now, our price range that we're still needing homes is from about $100,000 to about $300,000. So anything under $300,000, especially, and I'd say that $200,000 to $300,000 mark, those houses are maybe on the market 24 hours. So the sellers right now are getting over what they're asking in some cases, or right what they're asking for. So right now we have about a month and a half of inventory available. So it is kind of a seller's market at this time.
Definitely. So what kind of caused this? Was this loan rates, interest rates? I mean, walk us through what really triggered all of this.
So I believe it was interest rates. Also, we've seen a lot of refinancing, so people staying in their home and not moving, kind of in that 3 to 5 year time frame. But I think interest rates is really driving it. Anything from people refinancing in the low 2s to purchasing new homes maybe at a 2.8 or a 3.2 interest rate right
Definitely.
now.
So is this an isolated bubble? I mean, can you walk us through what this is looking like for Abilene?
So I don't think it's a bubble. It's going on all over, not only nationwide, but in Texas. We're not seeing some of the dramatic numbers like in bigger metropolitan areas, even like the Dallas-Fort Worth area or the Austin area. But we are up, I believe Ken said, around 5%, about 8% up at this time.
Right. So Mr. Hogan, can you tell us how long can we expect to see this?
You know, the fundamentals of a good real estate market are, of course, low interest rates, affordability, and a strong local economy. So, you know, with the recent announcement of, you know, the Great Lakes Cheese Company, you know, Abilene has a really diversified economy. And, you know, of course, nobody really knows how long, you know, the interest rates are going to stay like they are. You know, there's a lot of things that happen in Washington, D.C. with the fiscal policy that sometimes dictate what the Federal Reserve does with short-term interest rates, you know, in terms of trying to control inflation. So, you know, hopefully, you know, our rate of inflation can stay down, where the Federal Reserve rate will keep that interest rate down. The interest rate, the historical low interest rate that we've seen really over the past couple of years has really been a strong driver, you know, in our nationwide real estate market, you know, Abilene included. So, you know, hopefully all the economic factors will remain in place for us to, you know, enjoy a busy real estate market, you know, for the next 2 or 3 years.
Was this something that you guys were expecting to happen during the pandemic, or was this kind of a shock that in the midst of all of this craziness, we're just really seeing this volatile market right now?
You know, in March of 2020, you know, when things started shutting down, you know, across the state, you know, we were just like, you know, pretty much everybody else that were either in the Realtor Association world or the real estate practitioner world, is that nobody really knew what to do. You know, nobody knew, you know, how this is going to affect the real estate industry. Luckily, you know, through advocacy efforts on the local and state level, that the real estate industry was considered an essential business, like many other businesses were in Texas. So, you know, the pandemic really did not slow anything down in terms of the real estate business, the real estate market. But honestly, you know, we were just all, you know, a little certainly concerned because there was a lot of news coverage, a lot of media coverage about, you know, the effects of the pandemic and how it was going to affect the economy overall, and it just didn't seem to affect real estate.
Right. Well, thank you so much. When we come back here on Big Country Politics, we'll continue our conversation with these guys on the housing market in Abilene.
Big Country Politics on KTAB continues.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still here with Ms. Jamie Dalzell and Mr. Ken Hogan from the Abilene Association of Realtors. Let's go ahead and talk. You mentioned the Great Lake Cheese Company. That means we're having hopefully a bunch of people come and take these jobs. We're going to need houses to house these people, right? I mean, how are you guys feeling? Are you nervous? What's going on?
Yeah, I think we're all kind of wondering, you know, this current state we're in, trying to find homes for people that are moving here or currently live here and maybe choosing to buy a bigger home. Yeah, where are we going to put the new ones coming in? So there are quite a few new subdivisions going in. I wouldn't say all over town, mainly to the south of Abilene. We see a lot of new growth and development out that direction. But there is a new subdivision that will be within the, I guess, the loop of Abilene, as we call it, and then right outside of the loop as well, that may be bringing more affordable housing to those people that are going to be taking these new jobs coming in. So not only are we really needing them for our current residents, but for those ones that are coming in for the new development, the cheese factory.
So does the association work with the building side of things? You know, some people right now are looking to rent houses because they want to build. And some people are having struggles with, you know, lumber prices and the cost of building a house. So how does the Realtors Association here in Abilene kind of bridge that gap of people wanting to buy homes and build and just kind of this influx of needing homes?
Right, so we do see more renters turning into homeowners, which is wonderful, because some of them have just been in that cycle, and that has just been the cycle maybe for their families. So of course we always want them to get into home ownership, and that may open up some housing for somebody else. I think Ken can talk about on the building side kind of what they're seeing regarding new home construction.
The you know, the new home, the lumber prices of course have increased significantly over the last 6 to 8 months, and you know that affects you know what the prices that the consumer out there is having to pay. You know, and hopefully, you know, it takes a little bit of time, but hopefully the appraisals that help determine value for the bank or the mortgage company will catch up with that, with the increased prices. You know, you know, basically there is not a lot of ready new construction out there available for people, and the builders are just, you know, they're building, you know, as fast as they can. It's just some of these new homes in these popular price ranges are just selling really quickly.
So while it might seem that having a shortage could be a good thing, because that means we're having more homeowners, we're having more people purchase homes here in Abilene, what does that mean for the future? I mean, if we're not able to keep building and we're struggling with development, how is that going to, you know, kind of shape the landscape of the housing market in the next few years?
I think other cities have taken approaches, different types of building material. Lots of these newer subdivisions are building more homes, maybe full brick or full stone or something like that. So some models, especially for the affordable housing, so anything maybe up to that 150, 125 range. We've seen some builders just build frame homes, you know, nothing fancy with brick or stone or anything like that. So maybe a different building material they would have to go to. We've seen in bigger cities do container homes. So other materials, and kind of hoping to avoid the high cost of lumber. I don't know if that's something that Abilene would do or look into, but I've heard talk of, you know, maybe some of these vacant lots in town, maybe being able to do housing or some type of housing on those properties.
Definitely. So for someone who's watching right now who's interested in buying a home, what are a few kind of quick tips of ways that they can navigate this market right now?
Well,
big question.
They need to, first, there's a lot of information online, but the most important thing is to contact a realtor. They can, get referrals through word of mouth. They can go to the Abilene Association of Realtors website. There's a directory of our members there. They need to, have their finances in order. Their pre-approval, pre-qualification, and understand that in this kind of where there's so much market pressure, is just to understand going in that they're going to be in competition, with other people, on that same property, and just to not get their expectations up that they're going to be the only one looking at this property. Those are kind of some of the, it's good information to have for somebody looking to buy.
Yeah. And a realtor can walk someone through all that, each step, whether it's who do I go to? I think I get a lot of phone calls, well I want to buy this house, but I don't know what to do now, and as a realtor, there's steps that we walk through each client with that can really help them navigate and kind of ease some of that anxiousness, especially if they're maybe a first-time buyer. But there's plenty of programs. We would love to use some of the programs. The city has a great first-time home buyer program. A lot of our local lenders have a lot of first-time home buyer programs, nurse programs, EMT, teacher programs, all kinds of things are available. So I would encourage the public to go to the association website, or if they were driving around and saw a sign, or know somebody that may have bought a home in the last year, 6 months or something, to contact a realtor, and we'll be happy to give information to them.
Definitely. Well, thank you both so much for joining us here this morning. We definitely got a better insight of what the Abilene housing market is looking like. Make sure, like they said, to go check out a realtor or to go to the association website for more information.
Big Country Politics on KTAB continues.
Well, that does it for this week's edition of Big Country Politics. For the latest political headlines, always go to bigcountryhomepage.com. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Thanks for watching.